For how many months have we been told by the editorial writers at the Wall Street Journal, at National Review, the Weekly Standard, and other places? For how many months have we been told by some of my friends in this business, my buddy Larry on the weekends and others, that this whole notion of defunding Obamacare is an impossibility? That it's an absolute impossibility. And political suicide. So illogical have their arguments been. So bureaucratic have their positions been. That we, you and I, have spent months unraveling them and dismissing them as not substantive, but a demonstration of a complete lack of principle and courage. The American people do not want the government controlling their health care. The American people do not want tens of thousands of pages of regulations that they cannot possibly be expected to comprehend. The American people do not want the government collecting medical information. That is their private information, and putting it on a federal database. The American people want to keep their health care policies. They don't want to see their pricing going through the roof. There are parents who are worried about their kids' coverage. All the talk about kids being covered till they're 26 or 25. The fact of the matter is these colleges are dropping their insurance plans. Unions are barking as loud as they can, demanding, calling in every favor they have with this administration. They don't want Obamacare. Federal employees do not want Obamacare. We, the people, we don't want it. The fact that a single Congress that is now gone, that existed for a 2-year election cycle, imposed its will on us through a radical president. The fact that an outrageous Chief Justice of the Supreme Court shredded the United States Constitution, rewrote the statute to impose this monstrosity on we the people, does not mean we have to stand for it. We have been making the case day in and day out, objecting to this. It's bad enough that the federal government, using the Internal Revenue Service to muscle, to bully, to smother, to impose. It's bad enough that they're destroying the greatest healthcare system in the world. I have articles here in front of me. The Cleveland Clinic, one of the greatest hospitals on the planet. And I've been to the Cleveland Clinic when I was desperate with my heart problems. The fact that they're laying off hundreds of people. The hospital at Vanderbilt University laying off hundreds of people, closing hospital beds. This doesn't have to be. Obama is doing this. His radical ideology. The American people despise this, and it hasn't even been implemented yet. It is destroying our economy. It is destroying our job creation ability. It is draining the resources out of this nation. It is redistributing wealth from the private sector to this massive bureaucracy. And we're supposed to just take it. The lawlessness, the irrationality. And it has real human consequences for each and every one of us and our families. This is a disaster. And people say, let's wait to fully implement it. What? How many lives are going to be affected negatively by this? How much misery should be spread in order to, well, let's see what the people think then? That's not how America's supposed to operate. One Congress for 2 years, that's all it was, to impose its will, and this president, this imperial president, He insists that no future Congress, not this one, not anyone, shall have the constitutional authority to reverse course. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, what that one Congress did, where they had supermajorities in the House and the Senate, and as soon as you could get to them, you threw them out in the House. You almost threw them out in the Senate. As soon as you could get to them, you addressed this issue of Obamacare. Obama says, too damn bad. I'm reelected. I'm the imperial president. I'm going to shut down the whole damn government. You're going to take Obamacare. I shoved it down your throat. Now you're going to digest it. And you're going to like it. Whether you like it or not. I have just defined for you tyranny, not soft tyranny, raw, brazen tyranny. And that's what this is all about. And the President of the United States is saying what? If you don't accept this, I'm shutting down every corner of the federal government. I'm going to shut down the military. I'm going to shut down the FBI, the CIA, the Border Patrol. I'm going to shut down the FDA. I'm going to make this so painful, you'll come begging to me. Imperial President, please, please give us Obamacare. I'm going to make you like it because that's what we radical left-wing ideologues do with our totalitarian mindset. That is what we do. Screw you. Screw the Constitution. Screw elections, balance of power, checks and balances. None of it matters. I've got my Obamacare, and you're stuck with it forever. Now, finally, the French Republicans understand that if they surrender politically, they're going to be shot in the backs. That it's a loser. The geniuses at the Wall Street Journal, they're still hanging on with their fingernails. And same with the others that I mentioned. Rather than help us fight this, rather than give us additional substantive and intellectual firepower, they surrendered from day one. Like Republican bureaucrats. They don't even see this fight as worth fighting. And now, finally, the so-called Republican leadership in the House, not on their own, but forced by you, forced by the remaining conservatives in the House. Yes, the Tea Party conservatives, God bless you, and thank you, forced to take the only responsible and sane action they should have taken from day one. All this precious time wasted with this internecine fighting, all this precious time where they could have gone to the American people and made the case day in and day out. Rather than uniting with us from day one, squirming, conniving, looking for a way out. Finally, they have no way out because they can't produce the votes for surrender. Finally, they get it. Now, I don't completely trust them. It's one thing to propose. It's one thing to vote. But you got to follow through. And if they think after doing this, that is, proposing to pass a continuing resolution that defunds Obamacare, and we were told yesterday you can't do it. Well, apparently you can. And also, the Republicans will use the debt limit legislation as leverage in an attempt to cut spending. And they're going to attempt to delay the implementation of Obamacare. So they've embraced all of our points. If they think that they're just going to plop this stuff on the table, vote and walk away with it, rather than fight it and promote it and push it and go to the American people, they're not fooling us. Now, what are they going to do in the Senate on the Republican side? Now that the House so-called leadership Leading from behind. I hate that phrase, but there you go. Now that they have finally figured out that there's only one way out, what are they going to do in the Senate? The dozen patriotic, principled Republican souls who have stood up, been smeared by their own party, been smeared by the phony pseudo-conservatives in various newspapers and websites, led by Mike Lee and Ted Cruz, led by Rand Paul, and yes, in this regard, led by Marco Rubio and several others. What are the other Republicans? What will Lindsey Graham do? What will John McCain do? What will Mitch McConnell do? What will Lamar Alexander do? What will all the phony conservatives, phony leaders of the Republican Party in the Senate, what will they do? Are they going to continue to undermine the American people who want nothing to do with this damn Soviet-style law? Is that what they're going to do? Well, we're going to find out. The line has been drawn. To quote one idiot, the red line has been drawn. Except this time, some of us intend to enforce it at the ballot box. I am very pleased to see what the Republican leadership in the House has done. They've rejected Karl Rove. And they should have. He's a loser. But they better not be playing games. They've rejected surrender. They've rejected do nothing. And all those columnists and all those talk show hosts and all those cable guests and hosts who said, this is crazy, this can't be done. What are the conservatives and the Tea Party going to do? What are they going to say now? Are they going to continue to trash us? Are they now going to undermine what's going on in the House? Are they going to join us and help us? And put aside their egos, their bruised egos. We'll find that out too, won't we? I'll be right back.
Mark